At the company's annual awards ceremony, just as I stepped onto the stage, my supervisor, Melissa, suddenly shoved a crumpled piece of paper into my hand. A special grand prize, just for our top salesperson. Go on, open it up and show everyone. Under the expectant gazes of the entire company, I unfolded the paper. Scrawled in messy handwriting were the words, "Clean all the company bathrooms for 3 days." The room erupted in laughter. Melissa stood with her arms crossed, a smug smirk on her face. Generous, right? After all, everyone knows your sales numbers are just dirty money from sleeping with old men. We wouldn't want the other employees to feel like it's unfair. So, while they're on vacation, you can work a little overtime. You wouldn't mind that, would you? The laughter grew louder, nearly shaking the room. My boyfriend, Dominic, the CEO, witnessed the entire thing from the side of the stage. And as usual, he didn't say a single word in my defense. Just when everyone expected me to break down in tears, I simply nodded calmly. The next day, the company received cancellation notices for over 300 properties. The entire financial chain collapsed in an instant. Melissa and Dominic demanded I go and beg the buyers to reconsider. I smiled and replied, "No, I don't think so. If I save the company again, my sales numbers will be even higher. We wouldn't want to make everyone else feel even more unbalanced, now would we?" When I said I would accept the prize, a brief silence fell over the room, quickly followed by an even more ferocious wave of laughter. Melissa's laughter was the most exaggerated of all. She was doubled over, tears streaming from her eyes. See, this is why she's the top salesperson. The sheer thickness of her skin is something ordinary people could never achieve. I ignored her sarcastic remarks and spoke calmly. There's just one thing I need to clarify. Since the company has arranged this benefit of bathroom cleaning for me, that will be my sole responsibility for the next 3 days. I will not be handling any other work-related matters. Melissa was taken aback, clearly not expecting such a strange request. But it was the end of the year. Thanks to my efforts, all sales targets had been exceeded. All that was left was for the clients to finalize their bank payments for the transactions to be officially complete. For me to step away from sales at this critical moment was like handing her a billion-dollar performance on a silver platter. Melissa, assuming I had been pushed to my breaking point and lost my mind, agreed without a second thought. Fine by me. If you don't want the responsibility, you don't have to have it. You're not the only salesperson we have. Do you really think this company can't function without you? For the next few days, you just focus on scrubbing toilets. But if I find a single strand of hair on the floor, you can start looking for a new job. I didn't say another word. I just turned and walked away. In the hallway, I pulled out my phone and sent a message to my client group chat. To all my valued clients, I am currently facing a change in my position. For those of you who trust me, I would advise you to temporarily delay your bank payments. Please await further instructions from me. Just after I hit send, a text from Dominic came through. "Come to my office. We need to talk." I tossed my phone aside, pretending I hadn't seen it. We met in college. After graduation, at Dominic's persistent pleading, I turned down a 6-figure job to help him build his company from the ground up. He always said that as soon as the company hit $1 billion in revenue, we would get married. I believed his empty promises and poured my heart and soul into the company. But all I got in return was neglect and constant put-downs. Melissa had only been with the company for 3 months. Her sales numbers were a fraction of mine. But because Dominic was so impressed with her supposed overseas background and prestigious education, he promoted her to sales manager, completely bypassing me. And me, the top salesperson for 3 years running? My reward was the honor of cleaning toilets for 3 days. Under the sympathetic and gloating stares of my colleagues, I walked to the janitor's closet and changed into a cleaning uniform. As I was carrying a bucket towards the bathrooms, a voice called out from behind me, "Chloe, stop." It was Dominic. He usually pretended not to know me at the office. This was the first time he had ever called out to me in front of everyone. He strode towards me, his face a thundercloud, and looked down at me with condescension. "I told you to come to my office. Why didn't you?" I didn't offer an explanation. I just said flatly, "I was busy with work. I didn't have time to look at my phone." It was the same excuse Dominic always used on me. Hearing it from my lips for the first time seemed to catch him off guard. It was a small thing. Is it really worth throwing such a tantrum over? Once he was sure no one else could hear us, Dominic's tone softened. He sighed. "I know you're upset about the prize Melissa gave you, and I know I should have defended you. But she's the new sales manager, someone I've put a lot of faith in. Her initiatives have brought a huge boost to the company's performance. I couldn't undermine her in front of the entire staff. You have to try to understand my position. You know perfectly well that wasn't a prize. It was pure, unadulterated bullying and humiliation." I cut him off, my voice cold. "And what do you think is responsible for that boost in performance?" Melissa, sitting in her office all day, sipping lattes in the air conditioning. "If it weren't for me out there, day in and day out, rain or shine, chasing down every single lead. So busy I forget to eat. Do you really think this company would have closed a single deal in this real estate downturn? My aggressive questioning made Dominic's face fall. Don't be so arrogant, Chloe. You make it sound like you're single-handedly holding up the entire company. Without Melissa's winter warm-up campaign, would we have attracted so many potential buyers? You're clearly benefiting from her work. Don't be ungrateful. It makes you look pathetic. He didn't even give me a chance to respond before turning and walking away. If I hadn't heard it with my own ears, I would never have believed such idiotic words could come from the mouth of the man I had loved for over a decade. The so-called winter warm-up campaign he was praising consisted of a few tables set up outside the sales office, offering free cups of cheap, instant black coffee and flimsy, dollar store gloves to passers-by. The coffee usually went cold without anyone touching it, and the gloves were often found in the nearest trash can. And in Dominic's eyes, this was what was bringing in the real money, and I was the one piggybacking on Melissa's success. In all our years together, to protect Dominic's fragile male ego, I had never boasted about my achievements or complained about my struggles. I thought he had a heart, that if he wasn't a complete idiot, he would eventually see my dedication and hard work. I never imagined he could be so blind, so willing to erase all of my contributions. In that moment, the last lingering trace of affection I had for Dominic vanished. I threw down the mop and rubber gloves. My voice was ice. Fine. If in your eyes Melissa is the one responsible for all our success, then I quit. And we're through. We're done. In all our years together, no matter how angry or disappointed I was, I had never said a harsh word to Dominic, let alone mention breaking up. Hearing those words come from me, he stared at me in disbelief. Chloe, are you insane? Do you know what you're saying? We're only 300 sales away from hitting that billion-dollar target I promised you. Once those final payments come in, we've made it. If you throw a fit now, at this crucial moment, I won't give you a second chance. I didn't want to waste another breath on him. I just walked out of the company. I had just gotten home and taken off my shoes when my phone rang. It was my mother. The moment I answered, her voice, sharp and angry, assaulted my ears. Are you crazy, Chloe? Did you fight with Dominic? I'm telling you, you go and apologize to him right now. You're a woman. Everything you have today is because of him. Don't be so ungrateful. Her voice grew shriller. Dominic is young and successful. The fact that he's been with you for 12 years is a blessing. If you piss him off now, who do you think is going to want you? For a woman, marrying a good man is the most important thing in life. Go and be nice to him. Get that ring on your finger. Stop this foolishness. Without Dominic, you're nothing. I held the phone, a bitter laugh rising in my throat. Throughout our relationship, Dominic had always been able to easily win over my mother with small gifts and gestures. A few health supplements, a red envelope with some cash during the holidays, and she would treat him like a savior, and then turn around and lecture me about being obedient. He must have given her something good this time for her to be so eager to play his advocate, without even bothering to ask what had happened. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I just waited until she had exhausted herself, and then I hung up. My phone screen was still lit. I opened my client group chat and typed a message. To all my clients, I have decided to resign from my position at Sterling Properties. If you have any future real estate needs, please feel free to contact me directly. Less than a minute after I sent the message, the chat exploded. Chloe, you're leaving? What about the properties we've already put offers on? I only trust you. I don't want to deal with anyone else. Yeah, we chose Sterling because of your expertise. If you leave, we'll follow you. No matter which company you go to, we're with you. Without you, who else at Sterling is going to be so dedicated to helping us? I haven't finalized my paperwork yet. Wherever you go, I'll go. Just tell me what to do. The messages flooded in, one after another. No questions, no doubts, just unconditional trust and support. 12 years of selfless dedication meant nothing to Dominic. But my genuine efforts to help these clients, they remembered every single one. It wasn't that my sincerity was destined to be betrayed. It was that Dominic was never worthy of it in the first place. I wiped away a tear and replied to the group. Thank you all for your understanding and support. As soon as I have determined my next steps, I will let you all know immediately. Reading those heartfelt messages, the knot of tension that had been tightening in my chest all day finally began to loosen. Just then, I received a direct message from an unknown number. The sender identified themselves as a recruiter. Ms. Simmons, we have been following your excellent reputation in the industry. We understand you are considering a change, and we would like to extend a sincere invitation for you to join one of our partner firms. The compensation would be double your current salary, and you would have your choice of position. Would you be interested in discussing this further? I replied with a quick, I'll be in touch, and turned off my phone. I didn't sleep a wink that night, but I felt no fatigue. The next morning, I arrived at the office on time. Ignoring the stares of my colleagues, I walked straight to my desk and began packing my things. Just then, Melissa approached me with a sickeningly sweet smile. Chloe, don't you have a sense of humor? It was just a little joke, making you clean the bathrooms. Why did you have to go and resign? There's no need to be so dramatic. How about this? I'll give you a little bonus, out of my own pocket as compensation. Here, she said, holding out a red envelope. This is for you. A $250 bonus. She emphasized the 250, a number that is a common insult, her smile dripping with malice. The company had had a banner year. Every employee who participated in the annual raffle received a cash prize, with the lowest being over $8,000. And me, a senior employee and the top salesperson, was being offered this pittance, an amount that was a blatant insult. It was the ultimate humiliation. A wave of fury washed over me, and I slapped her hand away. It wasn't a hard slap, certainly not enough to knock someone over. But Melissa let out a dramatic cry and stumbled backward, collapsing in front of my desk, her eyes immediately welling up with tears. Chloe, I was just trying to be nice and give you a bonus. You didn't have to hit me. Seeing her damsel in distress act, Dominic, who had rushed over at the sound of the commotion, grabbed my arm without a second thought. Chloe, my patience with you has its limits. If you don't apologize to Melissa right now, you will never set foot in this company again. I wrenched my arm from his grasp. Dominic, I said, my voice cold. Are you suffering from memory loss? I already told you I was quitting yesterday. I'm just here to collect my personal belongings. Dominic's face turned ugly. He stepped in front of me, blocking my path. You can quit, but you're leaving the files for those 300 clients here. I stopped and looked at him, my expression unreadable. Fine. I agreed without hesitation. I bent down, took a neatly organized stack of client files from my box, and placed it on the desk beside me. But I should warn you, those 300 clients came to us because of my reputation and my expertise, not because of sterling properties, and certainly not because of you or Melissa. Dominic laughed as if I had told the funniest joke in the world. Chloe, you're giving yourself way too much credit. Without the sterling platform, who do you think you are? You think you could have closed all those deals without the resources this company provided? Don't flatter yourself. Melissa, standing beside him, chimed in. Exactly. She really thinks she's something special. Once we take over, we'll have no problem keeping those clients. Do you really think the company will fall apart without you? I didn't bother arguing with them. It was pointless. I straightened the files on the desk, making sure everything was there, then picked up my box and turned to leave. Just as the elevator doors were opening and I was about to step inside, a panicked voice shouted from behind me. Mr. Keys. Ms. Sanders. We have a huge problem. An employee, his face pale, ran up to Dominic stammering. The front desk has been flooded with calls. It's all the clients who put in offers. They all want to cancel. We've already counted over 100, and the calls are still coming in. The elevator doors began to slide shut, framing Dominic's face as it drained of color. For a split second, our eyes met. His was a mask of pure, unadulterated panic. Mine, I imagine, was stone cold. Hold the door, he screamed, lunging forward. But it was too late. The metal doors clicked shut, severing me from the chaos I had left in my wake. As I descended to the lobby, I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in years. The heavy box in my arms felt like nothing compared to the weight I had been carrying for Dominic. The weight of his ego, his incompetence, and his cruel indifference. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was the recruiter again. Ms. Simmons, we have a meeting set up for you with Apex Realty at 2 p.m. Their CEO is very eager to meet the woman who single-handedly drove Sterling's success. I smiled. Apex was Sterling's biggest rival. They were ruthless, efficient, and deeply professional. Everything Dominic's little kingdom wasn't. I'll be there, I replied. Back upstairs, I knew exactly what was happening. The avalanche had begun. Those 300 clients weren't just names on a spreadsheet. They were people I had cultivated relationships with for months, sometimes years. I knew their children's birthdays, their fears about interest rates, their dreams of a backyard garden. I had been their advocate, their therapist, and their friend. To Dominic and Melissa, they were just dollar signs. To me, they were a community. And a community protects its own. By the time I reached the parking garage, my phone was blowing up with texts from former colleagues. OMG Chloe, it's a bloodbath up here. Melissa is screaming at everyone. Dominic just smashed his keyboard. They're trying to call the clients, but nobody is picking up. I turned my phone on silent, put on my sunglasses, and drove out into the bright winter sun. Apex Realty's headquarters was a gleaming glass tower that made Sterling's rented office floor look like a broom closet. I was ushered into a conference room with a panoramic view of the city. Sitting at the head of the table was Marcus Thorne, the CEO of Apex. He was a legend in the industry, sharp, intimidating, and fair. Chloe Simmons, he said, standing up to shake my hand. The woman who made Dominic Keys look like a genius for 5 years. It's a pleasure. Mr. Thorne, I nodded. Let's cut to the chase, he said, sitting down. I know about the mass exodus at Sterling. Word travels fast. I also know that those clients are loyal to you, not the logo on your business card. If you join us, what can you bring over? All of them, I said without hesitation. And probably more. My client list isn't just a list, it's a network. They trust me because I don't sell them houses. I sell them homes that fit their lives. Sterling treated them like cattle. I treated them like family. Marcus leaned back, steepling his fingers. Dominic is going to sue you for poaching. He can try, I said calmly. But he fired me, constructive dismissal, if we want to get technical, and those clients contacted me first after I announced my resignation. I have the chat logs to prove it. They are free agents, and so am I. Marcus smiled, a genuine, predatory grin. I like you. You're dangerous. Dominic is a fool for letting you go. We'll offer you a VP position, double your salary, and a signing bonus that will make that $250 red envelope look like a bad joke. Deal, I said. As I signed the contract, my phone buzzed again. It was Dominic. Pick up the phone, Chloe. Now. We need to talk. You can't do this. Think about us. Think about our history. Melissa is crying. You ruined her career. I blocked his number. A week later, I was settling into my new office at Apex. The transition was seamless. My clients were relieved to hear I had landed at a reputable firm, and the paperwork transfers began immediately. Sterling Properties, on the other hand, was imploding. I heard the stories through the grapevine. Dominic and Melissa had tried to salvage the situation by mass calling my clients. It went about as well as expected. One client, Mr. Henderson, a retired veteran looking for a quiet bungalow, told me about his call with Melissa. She called me at 8 p.m., didn't even know my name properly, called me Mr. Anderson, and started demanding why I was canceling. He chuckled over the phone. She sounded hysterical. I told her I only work with professionals and hung up. Without the revenue from those 300 properties, Sterling's cash flow dried up instantly. They had already spent money they didn't have on expanding the office and buying new company cars, anticipating the bonuses that were never coming. Dominic grew desperate. He showed up at my apartment building one evening. I saw him from my balcony. He looked disheveled, his tie loose, holding a bouquet of wilted roses. The irony wasn't lost on me. I went down to the lobby, not to let him in, but to tell him to leave. Chloe, he breathed when he saw me rushing forward. Thank God. Look, I'm sorry. Okay. I messed up. Melissa. She didn't know what she was doing. I fired her. I raised an eyebrow. You fired her? Yes. Today. She was useless. You were right. It was all you. Please, Chloe. Come back. We can fix this. I'll make you a partner. 50-50 split. Just bring the clients back. He tried to grab my hand, his palms sweaty. You fired her to save your own skin, I said, stepping back. Just like you threw me under the bus to boost her ego. You haven't changed, Dominic. You just changed targets. I love you, he shouted, causing the doorman to look over. Doesn't 12 years mean anything? It means I wasted 12 years learning exactly who you are, I said quietly. Go home, Dominic. Sterling is dead. And so are we. He stared at me, his face crumbling from hope to rage. You heartless B***tch. I made you. I'll ruin you. I'll sue you for everything you have. My lawyers are at Apex, I said, turning around. They're very good. Feel free to send them a letter. I walked back to the elevator, leaving him screaming at the glass doors. The lawsuit never happened. Dominic couldn't afford a lawyer. 2 months later, Sterling Properties filed for bankruptcy. The bank seized the office, the cars, and Dominic's personal assets, which he had leveraged against the company loans. I heard he moved back in with his parents. Melissa, I learned, didn't go quietly. After Dominic fired her, she went on social media and aired all of Sterling's dirty laundry. The fake sales numbers, the toxic culture, the way Dominic spoke about clients behind their backs. It was the final nail in the coffin. She tried to pivot to being an anti-work influencer, but nobody bought it. Meanwhile, at Apex, I was thriving. I closed the 300 deals. My commission check was enough to put a down payment on a beautiful condo overlooking the river, one I bought solely in my name. But the real victory wasn't the money. It was the peace. One afternoon, I was walking out of a closing with a young couple, the Millers. They were beaming, holding the keys to their first home. Thank you, Chloe, Mrs. Miller said, hugging me. We were so scared when everything went crazy at the old firm. But you made us feel safe. That's my job, I smiled. As they drove away, I saw a figure standing across the street. It was a woman in a worn coat, handing out flyers. It took me a moment to recognize her. It was Melissa. She looked tired. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by practical, scuffed boots. She was handing out flyers for a discount car wash. Our eyes met across the traffic. She froze. I expected her to glare, to scream, to make a scene. But she just looked defeated. She lowered her eyes and turned away, disappearing into the crowd. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel pity. I just felt nothing. She was a ghost from a past life that no longer touched me. I was at the annual industry gala. This time, I wasn't the plus one of a struggling CEO. I was the VP of sales for the top firm in the city, receiving the Realtor of the Year award. I wore a dress that cost more than Dominic's car. As I stood on stage, holding the crystal trophy, I looked out at the sea of faces. I saw Marcus Thorne clapping proudly. I saw my team, people I had mentored who actually respected me. And then, in the back of the room, near the service entrance, I saw a waiter clearing a table. He paused when he heard my name announced. He looked up at the stage. It was Dominic. He looked older, heavier. The arrogance that used to define his posture was gone, replaced by a slump of resignation. He was wearing a white server's jacket, holding a tray of dirty glasses. He watched me. The woman he had forced to clean toilets, the woman he had called arrogant, the woman he had discarded for a shinier toy. He watched me shine. I didn't falter. I didn't stumble. I stepped up to the microphone. "Thank you," I said, my voice ringing clear and strong. They say success is the best revenge. But I disagree. Success isn't about revenge. It's about realizing that you were always the prize, even when others treated you like a consolation. The room erupted in applause. Dominic turned away, pushing his cart through the swinging doors, disappearing into the kitchen. I walked off the stage, trophy in hand, and didn't look back. The past was a lesson. The future was mine. And I had a lot of houses to sell. The end.